Hi, this is Krista Watson, and this is my vlog number 2 for Persuasion class. I'm going to look at a memorable speech in my life this week, and that's what the vlog is about. Describe a memorable, persuasive speech, and what are some of the qualities that made this speech memorable to me. For me, as I was thinking about it, one speech particularly came to mind, and that was the speech that President George W. Bush made to the country just following the 9/11 attacks. It could be that this was memorable because of the emotions of the day, because of what had happened, because of the seriousness and almost the fear that was in our hearts of what could happen next. But for me, it was a memorable speech because of the language that was used. Of course, we see that the verbal symbols are used in this speech, and to show the importance of the words that were being said. There wasn't a lot of incredible, deep emotion, but the words were emotional. He uses language strategically in this speech, as well as powerfully. And I think for me that enabled me as an audience member to envision what was being said, to really grasp on and go behind my president and say, yes, I believe what he's saying to me right now. There's 5 guiding principles, as we read on page 90 in our text, that are incorporated into a good speech. And those are truthfulness of the message, authenticity of the persuader, respect for the persuadee, equity of the persuasive appeal, and social responsibility for the common good. I believe that every one of those elements were added into the speech, and I'm going to expand upon that a little bit. And it helps with how the speech was put together, the breakdown of the speech, the layout, so to speak, of the speech. First, America was looking for a hero at this time. We were looking to our president, our president in the United States, to come on TV and be a hero. And something I found interesting as I was rereading this on CNN.com again, was that George W. Bush didn't profess to be our hero. He came on and he pointed the finger back to the audience and said, "You are the heroes." I found this interesting. On page 423, it says, "At the most fundamental level, the hero of the presentation is not the speaker as might be assumed, but rather the audience." It goes on to talk about you need to be able to point that finger at the audience so that they can be enabled to do something and to make a change. And that's what President George Bush wanted. Not necessarily to make a change in terrorism at that very second, but was to make a change in the hopes and the hearts of the American people who were discouraged. And when he pointed that finger back at America, he tells them that you're the hero. And it helps us to believe more in who he is as our president. And so he says, "These acts of mass murder were intended to frighten our nation into chaos and retreat, but they have failed. Our country is strong. A great people has been moved to defend a great nation." So again, he points the finger and says, you're the heroes. You're the ones that have stood up and you're staying strong. He goes on to thank and honor the rescue workers and the different people helping out in that area. And then next, I liked how he was going down in the speech. He gave comfort and reassurance, not only to us as Americans as the future of what's going to happen, but also as the immediate reassurance of the government is not shut down, that we will open again tomorrow. He stated the facts as it talks about on page 184. He stated the facts of what was happening. He also stated the facts of what will happen in the few days to come. And he says the functions of our government continue without interruption. He appeals to the reassurance of the American people. He says, don't worry, our economy's not crashing because of this. We're going to continue to stay strong. Again, pointing the finger and saying, okay, you're the heroes. Let's keep going. Let's keep walking forward. And the next one is he gave hope of justice, which is important. And we find it on page 242. It talks about the ability of a good speaker to be able to have the characteristics of justice, courage, and self-control. It says goodwill has seen the speakers having the best interest of the audience in mind. The speakers should not serve only personal interest. And George W. Bush could have gotten on there as a president and had a soapbox and served his own personal interest, but he didn't. And so I think in the end, the thing I liked most and that was most memorable about this speech to me was, of course, the emotions that were appealed to during the speech. But in the end, it was the humanness of George W. Bush in his speech, in his eyes, and what he said. And it could have been the emotions again, but he says at the very end, none of us will ever forget this day, yet we go forward to defend freedom and all that is good and just in our world. And he ended it with a human moment. We're all humans and we're hurting, and we've got to band together. And I think that that definitely shows a good speech, and it shows not only a good persuasive speech, it persuaded me to have hope, and hope of the future and hope of justice. It's our country could have easily have gone into depression during that time or something even worse, but we didn't. And I believe the words of George W. Bush were a very memorable speech for me. Thank you.